Sein Sowjetzeichen soll er vor sich hertragen und wir.
During the Second World War, Nazi Germany under Adolf Hitler set up concentration camps where prisoners were starved, tortured, and killed. These camps were all part of the Final Solution Plan, which aimed at systematically slaughtering Jews in concentration camps throughout Europe. Around 6 million Jews were murdered. And this guy, Adolf Eichmann, was responsible for implementing the genocide, deportation, and murder of millions of Jews. He was the architect of the Holocaust. Although he escaped justice post the World War, Mossad's agents smuggled him in from Argentina to Israel 15 years later. On May 23, 1960, Israel Prime Minister David Ben-Gurion announced his captivity. The interesting thing to note is how Eichmann's location was traced years later, and how the Mossad agents planned his abduction to Israel and kept the Argentinian government in the dark. The masala in this story of the architect of the Holocaust, Adolf Eichmann, is just perfect for a Bollywood film. Eichmann was a senior Nazi SS officer, but to his advantage, no one outside of Germany knew his actual appearance. This actually helped him. When post the World War, Americans caught him, he disguised himself as Otto Achmann, a low-level German soldier. Following World War II, many officers involved in the Holocaust were tried at Nuremberg and executed after the war. But Eichmann escaped from prison. Finally, in 1950, he traveled from Italy and reached Argentina with a fake passport and with a new name, Ricardo Clement. This man is a blind Jewish refugee, Lothar Hermann, who moved to Argentina after being imprisoned in Dachau. His daughter Sylvia dated one of Eichmann's sons, who didn't change his surname for a strange reason. Hermann soon discovered Eichmann's whereabouts in Buenos Aires through his daughter Sylvia. In 1957, he soon wrote a letter to German Jewish judge Fritz Bauer in Germany, who tipped the information to Mossad instead of German authorities. Bauer feared that Nazi sympathizers within the German government, judiciary, or the German embassy in Argentina could possibly tip Eichmann off. Mossad director Esser Harel too acted swiftly. He sent a Mossad agent to meet the Hermanns, who claimed to know Eichmann's address. But Esser soon lost interest in the lead because he felt that the Hermanns seemed unreliable. As per the book Mossad, the greatest mission of the Israeli Secret Service, Fritz Bauer visited Israel a year and a half later. He met Israel's Attorney General in Jerusalem, who had summoned Esser Harel and Zavi Aharoni. In this meet, Bauer revealed Eichmann's fictitious name in Argentina, Ricardo Clement. This piece of information gave a new twist to the hunt. In his report to Mossad, Lothar Hermann mentioned a Clement family that was staying as a tenant in a house owned by Francisco Schmidt. Hermann believed that Eichmann was using the alias of Francisco Schmidt. Zavi Aharoni was selected to do the investigation. As per the animated documentary The Nazi Hunter, capturing the architect of the Holocaust, Aharoni narrates that he found out Eichmann's house to be located on the outskirts of Buenos Aires. Reportedly, he placed him and his family under surveillance and even saw Eichmann. He also noted down Eichmann's daily routine. Aharoni sent a coded message to Israel which stated, "The driver is red." This meant the man who organized the Holocaust, because of whom Jews were starved and tortured, was finally found. Israel could have informed the Argentinian government about Eichmann's location, but at the time, Argentina was sympathetic to the Nazi cause. Hence, there was a chance that the Argentinian authorities could have tipped off Eichmann. So, how do they get to him? What could the Mossad agents have done? Well, they planned to abduct him. A team that was formed to abduct Eichmann entered Argentina. The plan was simple: capture Eichmann, extract him from Argentina, and get him to Israel. As mentioned in the book Mossad, the greatest mission of the Israeli Secret Service, they decided to capture him as he walked home after getting off a city bus. Apart from abducting him, the big stress was how do we get him out of Argentina and to Israel. Mossad director Esser Harel learned that Argentina would celebrate its 150th anniversary of independence on May 20th. On May 11th, delegations of several countries, including Israel's, would be participating in the festivities. Hence, Harel decided that Eichmann would be smuggled to Israel from the plane that would bring in the Israel delegation. Harel had made all the arrangements with Israeli airline El Al's senior officials. The plan was to capture Aikman on May 10th, the plane to arrive on May 11th, and on May 12th to set off for Israel. But soon, as with most things, there was a change in plan. Due to many visitors coming in for the anniversary celebration, the Argentinian authorities informed the Israel delegation to delay their arrival until May 19th. That meant that if the plan was to be executed on May 10th, Aikman had to be held captive for 9 to 10 days. And to hold him captive for so long in Argentina meant great risk. However, Harel decided to delay the plan by just one day, that's May 11th, because of the agent's fatigue. On May 20th, Aikman would be taken to Israel. May 11th, the abduction day, had arrived. The agents were waiting for Aikman to get down at the bus stop and walk towards his house. But no one came at the bus that was supposed to arrive at 7:40 p.m. Had he been tipped off? The plan was to wait till 8 p.m. and if Aikman didn't arrive, the agents would leave. But Rafi Aitan decided to wait till 8:30. However, at 8:05, another bus arrived and Aikman got down. As he was walking to his home, one agent pounced on him and he was soon joined by the others. He was screaming out of fear during the ambush. The agents eventually got him into the back of a car and took him to the safe house. For 9 days, Aikman was in the safe house under interrogation. On May 20th, he was drugged and all his senses were blurred. The plan was to board Aikman as a crew member with fake documents in the name of Zev Zikroni. Mossad's vehicle and the 2 other cars of the airline crew reached the airport at the same time. Harel met the staff in the parking lot and instead of 2, 3 airline cars, including the one Aikman was in, headed towards the plane. He was placed by a window on the plane with a doctor and a security team sitting around him, pretending to sleep. If the Argentinian officials came to check their papers, they would just say that this was a crew for the second shift and they were just resting until their shift began. The rest of the Mossad agents cleared immigration and customs and headed towards the plane. Now it's midnight. The plane was moving for departure, but it suddenly stopped. The control tower called for a delay.
Gate 1, there's going to be a delay for a straight out on 19. Can you make a right turn off 19?
All the agents were tense. Had something happened? Had someone been tipped off? But after just a few minutes, the plane was cleared for departure. When Israel Prime Minister David Ben-Gurion made the announcement, the entire world was shocked.
One of the greatest of Nazi war criminals, Adolf Eichmann, was found, is already under arrest in Israel, and will shortly be put on trial under the Nazis and Nazi collaborators law.
Argentina's government protested against such an act and demanded the return of Eichmann within a week. Argentina even took the matter to the UN Security Council, but Israel did not succumb to Argentinian pressure. It was the very first televised trial in history. Over 100 witnesses were present against Eichmann at the trial, but Eichmann just kept saying that he was following orders. Finally, the judge disagreed with this claim and sentenced him to death. The Supreme Court and the President of Israel rejected his appeal and pardon. And on May 31st, 1962, Adolf Eichmann was hanged. All the millions of people that suffered and were killed during the Holocaust finally got their justice. Did you enjoy this video? If you did, don't forget to like, share, and comment. We at Nutshell love exploring stories like this. Stories with rich histories, complex topics, and we also like to delve into secret and unknown mysteries from the past. So if that's something you're into, don't forget to subscribe.